Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8 and Third Reich events installed, the mods, of course. So we're going to continue with this here. We're removed some soldiers, or some units are moving away from the border here. And they're thinking they might be able to take us. I don't think they will. Basically leaving a containment force. Now, I don't plan on changing at this point because things are at this point in the game. But I think I've come to a conclusion literally just a few minutes ago before starting this episode. That, generally speaking, and I know a few of you vocally wanted me to invade Switzerland. One or two of you just have a problem with Switzerland and just wanted to invade it. A few others just sort of in the all-conquering mode, so take everybody down. And I've resisted that. Again, I don't plan on invading this game. But I've thought that you get the... there's not a whole lot. I mean, we're not maybe getting too accurate of what's in here. But you don't get a whole lot of resources. You don't get a whole lot of ICs. You don't get much in the way of strategic position. You are going to end up having to occupy it because it's going to have a revolt risk. It's going to be mountainous. And yeah, part of it is sort of emotional in that it's non-historical. No reason to invade it that way. And also you have the Bank of International Settlement, which I think requires Switzerland to be independent and at peace with you to get that, and that's a really good benefit, and I think much more benefit than all of Switzerland's benefits occupied. But what really just now made me go, should invade Switzerland, is this. Is all of this stuff here. Is the mighty Italian army ready to... Well, I don't know whether... I sort of kind of would like Italy to invade. Again, I'm not terribly anti an invasion, but I just don't need to. But they've got a huge Italian army sitting there defending against, I don't know whether they really, the AI thinking just waiting for me to declare war, or it's thinking that those evil Swiss bankers really just want to send their legion south into Italy. Whatever it might be, I'm not sure. Where is Kesselring here? He got pulled there by a event. Okay. Probably needed him somewhere else. And so that is distracting Italy, and I've seen that in AIs more than just in Hearts of Iron 3. So, I'm happy if they want to put a line of even elite mountain divisions or just a bunch of fascist militia along the border or whatever, because we all know it's not going to declare war on anybody. I don't at this, and the reason I'm not planning on doing it is at this point in the game, if we freed up all those Italian units, I don't know what they would do. Where they would go, would they go anywhere useful? Would they, go and invade Australia with them, or, I don't know what, but there's just nothing really for them to be useful in doing. So I think it might be a good idea if maybe after the invasion of France, because I know I've talked to at least one player who liked to invade France via Switzerland. You know, that he had come across whatever border here and then plunge into France south of the Maginot Line. But I maybe better to do it after the invasion of France. Might be the thing to do, just to get Italy to better place its units to deal with the Mediterranean on its own and not have that worry, especially when the Mediterranean is still contested, kind of thing. Okay, that's just a thought and a reason for me. I don't know if I will change my... I mean, I'm not planning on doing another German playthrough of this, but if I were to, I don't know if I would change my own personal plans, but that's sort of where my head is at right now, is to free up so many Italian units. Okay, well, let's continue. We're shifting things around here. Bulgaria! Yes, we'll give you energy. How much energy do you want? Over to here, we're building another marine core. I know that can have multiple meanings, but I think you know what I mean. Oil refining advance. Great. Let's research that for quite some time. Let's continue to improve our infantry. No, we still have... There we go. On board and come back down to here. Rebase. Good. Now, send the Africa Corps here. This lighter unit, I want to send it that way. It has... Get this port soon and bring open supplies up. Okay, Special Forces unit. Combined arms. Well, do some amphibious. And striking workers. Rised up against their German overlords. Well, unless you're having a little trouble there, so some of those guys do. Okay, carrier aircraft prototype. I think that's good enough. I know it's probably behind whatever the Americans have. I realize it. but mostly I'm still going to go down the road of avoidance rather than confrontation on the Navy. Okay, let's see. Got the Prinz Eugen up here, ready to join the main Kriegsmarine fleet. So this is our big our version of the death stack here. If we do run into something with Bismarck, Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, Deutschland, Admiral Scherer, Admiral Hipper, and now Prinz Eugen, we're going to do fairly well. Got a bunch of light cruisers, some destroyers, and our landing craft is the reason for it. Because again, I don't plan on using it to confront the American Navy. Now these guys I will, because there's one torpedo boat, you know, sort of lighter than a frigate, but more than just a motor torpedo boat, and then 4 motor torpedo boats. And if we lose those, we haven't lost much of an investment, and we might have messed with them. Now, of course, they're supposed to, the whole idea, those is like I just said, we don't lose too much if you do mess with them. But I'm hoping the air power is also going to find the fleet, so it's going to be an air and light ship attack, and that's where we've done fairly well against cruisers and other vessels, and when the British were coming messing with us in there. Crude oil we've got. Okay. We're sending supplies there to Iceland, aren't we? Yes, good. Another one. Oh, well, hey. Got a fortifications, but... Oh, Naring's still out here. He's a good general. Even a little bit more, just because maybe the fortress got them. Yeah, I know, I've sort of abandoned some units. Partially because I don't know whether I'm should be occupying the east. Really what to do with them, because this is really now the striking power. You can see of the armed forces. Okay, we now have, oh, we've lost because of Cullen and I think the province there. I think, isn't that a victory? No, but we'll get that effect back. Okay, gasoline engines. The tanks has increased. Good. That'll help speed up many units. Let's do light armor. Have fun with that. Still seeing supply problems. The invasion of America. Just like we're having a little bit here. Okay, good. So now that we're gaining the ports, we'll increase. Already there. Okay. La Rochelle. With more ports, we'll be able to. What's the terrain like here? Okay, hills. We'll do okay there. We need to head back. Back over here too. Oh, wait a minute, was there more? Ah. Active units, no. Let's again. There we go. Back to the Congo. Just get one done there. The African Corps Division. Okay, we're out of space already. We're going to have a problem with, like we were looking before in Africa, but we're going to have a problem with enough basing to get supplies in here. Cause just this is mostly because of the few ports. Now I've gone in with TRE because just looking around doing a little research, and it was one of the either like New London or Providence, Rhode Island here didn't have any ports. And that sort of, and I knew that there was one, and then also over here I knew that there were I think it was in Los Angeles or one of these places that I knew that there were significant coastal defenses. So I went and looked it up and found that there were a lot more coastal defenses than I had known about. And so I've gone in and did a very good job, I think, of replicating, adding some bunch of ports that were missing. You know, port, land, Portsmouth. Yeah, they're sort of repeated of English names, but these were significant ports at the time. These aren't just small 18th century fishing ports that wouldn't handle a World War II era cargo ship. Now these were significant ports at the time. Providence, Rhode Island, New London, and also dealt with some of the Hartford, Connecticut, and New Haven, Connecticut were significant arms manufacturers. Let's see, ever hear of like gun manufacturer like Winchester? And yep, Winchester made rifles for World War II, M1 Garands and others. I have a from the serial number, a Winchester from literally the first less than the first year, so the first few months after World War II, when they went back to making civilian rifles, a lever action. So one of the first post World War II. I mean, one of the first as in 10,000 or something. One of the first going back to civilian production. And I looked at them. Some of the stuff you could still invade, but really there were defenses here and defensive in Greenport and Hampstead. And I thought about putting in naval defenses here. There weren't any, but mainly because the forts here would close the ability to get by them, meaning there would be significant naval gunfire. And these were, they go back to pre-American Civil War fortifications, but they got updated several times, including during the American Civil War significantly, and then in the 1880s, and then in the early 1900s, leading up to and dealing with World War I. And then there was the first London, I think it was the first London Naval Treaty, in which there were a bunch of battleships being planned by the U.S. that got scrapped. You know, the plans were scrapped, and they had already made for them the naval guns, huge, I think 14 inches, I'm not exactly sure, but very large naval guns that it took a while, but it was in the late 20s and early 30s, before 36. And some were still being done afterwards, that these guns were turned over to the Army, because it was the coastal artillery, which is part of the Army, not the Navy, in the U.S. The Navy did not have anything to do with the coastal forts. It was all the Army. Army Corps of Engineers built them. The Coastal Artillery Command is what was responsible for them. That these heavy naval guns and their ammunition for them were turned over, and early on some of them were East Coast, but as tensions in the East were increasing, they were more and more put on the West Coast. But there were significant West Coast fortifications as well. Some of the fortifications, some of the more modern ones, did happen after 36, and I did not include those. But I just included events. So we will be facing, and if you play TRE, and in here is where I did do, like, if I don't think there's any coastal forts in Washington, D.C., since that's the capital. But there are coastal forts in these, like at Newport News, which was a major, Norfolk was sort of part of all that major shipbuilding area, that would, again, be actively shooting up any ships coming into, the ports in here. So that's why I gave them a few places, the coastal forts, even though they weren't there, but it was a limited thing. I think I also did that out here in San Francisco. Yeah, Oakland got forts because you could land in Oakland, but it was really more San Rafael and San Francisco that closed the ability to get through the harbor mouth, if you will, or the bay mouth here with the forts. So a little poetic license, if you will, to do it, since none of the forts get to shoot out at sea. I had to. Now that you have supply route, you're going to attack. So we're going to be facing with the U.S. not a lack of ports once we get in here, or with the improvements is where I started with all that. Like we were facing down in Brazil. But I'm just ready for the concept of what we had with supply problems in the Soviet Union, supplying troops. I'm wanting a lot of heavy transports to just fly in supplies from whatever port that we're directing the supply to. Because we're going to be using a lot of mechanized forces. Yes, okay, we regained that, and carrier group doctrine. Right now I don't think we have any of the, because of the bug in it, and I haven't gone back and fixed it for this one, but I would like to get global military superpower, and yes, okay, we've got enough carrier doctrine. We don't need to do that one anymore. So we understand how to use carriers well enough. We'll improve our tank destroyers. Have them design the Hetzer or whatever would be the appropriate one right now. Okay. Don't want to go overboard on the heavy transports, but I do want a bunch. We have. These are all just mostly future attachments to headquarters, turning a couple of SS comp groups or whatever into better fighting units. Lots of aircraft to deal with. Yeah, okay, well, let's create another mechanized division. Or do we do airborne? I think we have enough airborne. I don't want to overdo the airborne. Do some heavy armor. This is going to be a slow division. We need medium artillery. We use armored cars. Engineers, half tracks. Headquarters, and that leaves one more. We don't need an anti-tank for piercing because we have that heavy armor, which has fairly decent piercing. Reconnaissance. I think we're going to go with the rocket artillery again. Just to hit it heavy and hit it hard. Okay. The counterattack. Okay, first of the year, so we lose silent guns of December. In fact, heavy bomber ground crew training has advanced. I think we're good enough with that. We need to improve our air. I'm anticipating, may not be the case, but I'm anticipating the US to be a worthy adversary. Okay. I think this time we're just going to go with extra spies. Doing a lot of... Now, annual national focus. A lot of good choices, shall we say, but sort of would like to do the Z plan, which will give us a bunch of shipyard units, which would help our ship production. You know, things like carriers get them out in a more reasonable time. We have quite a bit of ship production going on. And I am rather tempted to do that. As you can tell, being tempted doesn't means I'm probably not going to do it. Don't really think I need to do. I would do Z plan except for the 5% national manpower modifier plus, compared to the 20% for Die Wehrmacht. So that's what we're going to do again. It'll get us a lot of armaments factories, yes. Now, boost existing factories which land build speed plus 10%. That may sound good, and if you were facing imminent Soviet invasion of the homeland, you might want to do that. But once this year is over, you'll lose the benefit, unless of course I choose this again. But, and I haven't done the math, just what all these armament factories are going to boost it. But these armament factories stay with us. Yes, we have the IC modifier for the year. But we can then do this again next year if we so choose. And so you continue to build more and more armaments factories every year. Or if we had taken any of the other options as well. So I think it's generally better to do this, so that you compound it instead of just 10% every year. You can improve it. Now here we want to do short term, because long term, yeah, it gets you money, but we don't really have a money situation. And the big thing is we, if you were watching the pre-war episodes, we did this a lot because it will, and I'm sort of going over this again because I know not everybody's watched from the beginning. It's things like doing the national highways and some of the other railroad tycoon and such, that you have to have that you have to be in long-term effect to be able to pick one of those. But there's no more for us to pick, because collectivization of farms, I believe, well, obviously it's not open to us as even a possibility, and even when we've done that, and I believe it's purely for a Soviet, or the communist country. So we don't get that opportunity, and we've got the agricultural industry, the railroad tycoon, mining, and national highway. So there's no more benefit from that. So unless you really just wanted to do money for some reason, you're importing your resources or something, you would want to maybe continue. But so we're going to just do the short term, so we're going to be more efficient with our IC production. Okay, so that also the national manpower thing I know coming up here shortly. Okay, and let's see. We're going to attach it to the Marine Division. Marine Corps. No, it sounds like I'm saying the United States Marine Corps, but it's just the Corps. Don't know who we're going to. We have some naval infantry units coming to potentially attach to the headquarters here. I think that's all of our naval units. Now, okay, let me just Build up a division temporarily, and then if I were to... Okay, that's too far for us to invade. So onboard him. So either we need to get Greenland, or it's possible from the Azores. I'm not sure about whether it's possible from the Azores, but it might be. So we're going to take the Azores. It won't hurt us to take the Azores. Time-wise, maybe if we're wasting our time, it might not be good, but I don't feel a time pressure like we have to get it done. U.S. War Machine and Top Gear. Okay, so yes, and beginning of 44, the U.S. really was producing. Fortunately, the U.S. no longer produces things. No one would listen to me, but I know how to turn the U.S. into a, without any weird radical change, I know how to turn the U.S. into the greatest production engine again in the world. More than China, more than India. The U.S. could be the greatest producers of things again. That would be the greatest job boom in the U.S. and more or less basically none of the main presidential candidates have this or pursuing this plan, but it could be done, and America would just swamp the world in production again. You know, many of my audience out here is not American, and they might not like that, but it would certainly happen again. Because the Americans still, quite honestly, know how to do it, but we just have followed policies that has moved production overseas. Okay, inner service. So cooperation between the service headquarters is improved, but the big thing, of course, is reduced attacks by 24 hours. And the United Kingdom has lost the royal sovereign. Okay, we've received payment for our aircraft. How are we doing over here? Oh, where? Damn it. I should have built a building. We got that, because we may very well want to drop into here very soon. Help the Japanese out. Don't know how much our operations here have distracted them. Okay, but we do have these airports there. So, we'll see if we can move these over here. We can take down into here. You know, I don't know if this is helping Japan here, but it's definitely taken up. But like I was saying, it's much more of the government's policies that have kept the U.S. from being a... Do we want that as a core HQ? Maybe, but we'll see about that. What came? Okay, a bunch of these units. Transports. Okay, I think we're going to end the episode here because I do want to look to see what's spent on it, and I want to make it good, not just spend to spend. to try to figure out what I want to do. I think we've got enough good mechanized forces to deal with the US. But whether it's more transports or more aircraft or something, I'm not sure. But I want to try to make good choices here, looking down the road away. So I'll do that off camera. See you next time. Thanks for liking the videos. Thanks for commenting. Just thanks for watching. Be seeing you.